Dogecoin, though, started as a joke, and there are good reasons why some investors refuse to take it seriously. Practical reasons. It has unlimited supply. That's crucial, because it is the ability to devalue yourself that makes people highly suspicious. Bitcoin, on the other hand, has a fixed supply of 21 million coins. It's like gold in the sense that there's a limited supply once you can get it, and once you've got it, that's all there is. Most of those of the Bitcoin has already been mined, and the scarcity protects its value. Dogecoin has an infinite supply, and its uses are very limited at the moment, mostly for tipping on social media and for laughs. It's known as a meme coin. Its backers promote it that way on social media. Meltem Demirors is the Chief Strategy Officer at CoinShares, a digital asset investment firm. She joins us from Portsmouth in New Hampshire. OK, you've heard the discussion that we were having. We will talk about the validity of its case, if you like, in a moment. Firstly, your impression of its market volatility over the last few days and weeks. I think you might be muted.
As you said, Richard, great to be here. Doge up 500% in the last 7 days, 48 billion market cap, making it the 5th largest cryptocurrency. Giving your listeners and viewers a little bit of context, SBY is the most widely traded and held ETF in the world. It traded around 25 billion of volume in yesterday's session. Dogecoin, the coin that basically defines memes in crypto, has traded 70 billion in volume in the last 24 hours. So 3x SPY volume, which is crazy.
Right.
And really what I think we're seeing here is markets in crypto move very quickly. I'll also mention Wall Street Bets, the online investing community on Reddit that had blocked discussions about crypto for the last few years. On Tuesday, ahead of the Coinbase listing, opened up discussion on just 3 cryptocurrencies: Bitcoin, Ether, and you better believe it, Doge.
Okay, but here's the difficulty. To a large extent, as Paul Monaco was saying, Ether has legitimate purposes that now people are using it for. Bitcoin has a scarcity that is admirable for fiscal conservatives who believe in the probity of that sort of thing. Doge doesn't have any of those things. This is either pure speculation or it's bordering on irresponsible. Which is it?
I think it's speculation. The story here is very similar to the GameStop and AMC story, these retail manias that we've seen around specific assets. With Doge, we've seen a tremendous amount of social media activity, people making songs on TikTok about it, people trying to meme Doge to $1. The catalyst here really was yesterday night, Wall Street Bets banned discussion of Dogecoin, and as a result, the retail trading community went into a buying frenzy. In addition, Robinhood shut down crypto trading for a few hours on its app. It was only just restored this morning. So really what we're seeing here, I think, is a classic retail mania. But what we've learned from game and other manias is the market can stay much more irrational for a very long period of time than shorters can stay solvent. So we'll have to see what unfolds.
What role in all of this does Coinbase play, do you think?
Yeah, I think the big trend around Coinbase has been, obviously, ahead of the Coinbase listing, we saw a lot of traders going long Bitcoin going into the news on Tuesday. As the Coinbase stock started trading on Tuesday and throughout the week at lower pricing than expected, we saw a lot of Bitcoin levered trades coming off, a lot of these calls getting wound down, which resulted in downward price action for Bitcoin as people took these long-dated calls off the table.
So for those viewers, I mean, the Quest Means Business viewer is well aware of cryptocurrencies, but I think we don't really fully understand yet, away from the mere speculation of trading with it and the speculative element, what is the principal purpose that most of these cryptos are being used for? Do we know?
We absolutely don't know in some cases. As you alluded to, Doge and many other coins may not have a specific defined use. But again, Bitcoin has a very specific use Bitcoin is being used as a store of value and a portfolio diversifier. It's being used as an alternative asset. Allocators are using it for portfolio diversification. Ethereum, as you alluded to, is also being used as a portfolio diversifier, but also being used a lot in decentralized finance and new types of capital markets activity that happen on a blockchain instead of in a financial institution. And then there are a number of other assets that are still very early in their development and growth, but they're finding very specific use cases within specific communities, whether that's web development or something else.
I just want to quickly have a chance to ask you, this idea of unlimited supply. Now, even though the organizers of Doge have said, you know, they've basically discussed taking the cap and removing the cap and those sort of things, and they have increased it. Is that significant? Does this create fears, you know, the Weimar Republic inflationary? It's not big enough to have that effect, but if somebody's going to print the wazoo out of this thing, then eventually we devalue
Richard,
that which is there.
But hold on, I'm here in the United States of America. We've seen over 20% of all dollars in existence being printed in the last 12 months. I'm not worried about Dogecoin. I'm worried about my dollars, right? So I think in context, I'm much more worried about the money printing happening with the US dollar than I am any printing happening in the crypto ecosystem.
No, I guess what I meant by that, it's a good point. It's a good point, though. But I guess what I meant by that is in terms of, no, what I meant in terms, I wasn't talking economically. I was talking about in terms of Doge. In terms of Doge, if you keep printing the thing, eventually you will debase and devalue that which you've printed.
Of course. And look, there are many cryptocurrencies where there is a central entity that can choose to create more tokens, right? This is something that happens. This is why I think we see a lot of the investment community gravitating towards Bitcoin. Again, over 55% of the crypto market cap is Bitcoin. Another 15% is Ether. So the majority of value is really in these top two networks. And then there's a long tail of assets out there who have questionable economic models, certainly. And look, I'm not a Doge believer myself, but these speculative manias have a life of their own.
Meltem, it's your first time with us on Quest Means Business. Please allow me to invite you to become a regular and to at least join us when we have to talk about these things. Love to have you on the program. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Richard.